Okay, good morning, everyone. I think we are ready to start. My name is Nadia Smith. I'm BEKA Schréder's Senior Communications Officer. Welcome to our first online webinar. Thank you for joining us. Joining us also is Sophie Vinders. She's the Digital Internal Communication and E-Learning Manager from Schréder. She will be assisting us with this platform today to ensure that everything is running smoothly. So we look forward to introducing the OMNIBLAST-E Floodlight family to you this morning. If you have any questions during the webinar, please type them into the question mark tab and we will answer them after the presentation. Please forgive us any hiccups that we might experience. As mentioned, we're working with a new system, but I'm sure we will master this pretty quickly. Please also excuse the garden, wildlife, and possible children's noises in the background. We are all working from home. There we go. So I would like to run you through our structure this morning and also introduce our speakers. Derek Watson, our commercial manager, will give a brief introduction about the company. Grant Combrink, our marketing manager, will talk to you about the OMNIBLAST-E product features. Retief Kutzer, our lead design coordinator, will highlight some design applications. And Dani van der Nest, our project manager, will talk to you about our stadium control system. As mentioned before, this will be followed by our Q&A session. And last but not least, we will ask you to complete a short poll to give us feedback about our first webinar session so that we can improve going forward. I'm now handing over to Derek Watson.
Thank you, Nadia. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Just an overview of the company. Some obviously know us for many years. I know there are others online who perhaps are not too aware of our company. The company was founded 42 years ago, initially only manufacturing glass fiber poles, or as we also know, GRP poles. But shortly thereafter, there was obviously a natural progression into the design and manufacture of luminaires to be mounted on these poles. The move to South Africa 39 years ago was natural, with the potential market predominantly being in South Africa. We proudly state that as a company, we employ roughly 340 people, with most of us being South African citizens. With our incorporation into the Schréder Group over about a 10-year period, starting in 2002, we have seen an acceleration into the use of latest technologies and best practices, particularly in the area of lighting control, being reflectors in the old HRDs days and moving towards optics and LED. For those who are not aware, the group Schréder is a company that has been in business for 113 years already. Moving on to the next slide, we see an overview of our head office and our manufacturing facility. As a company has grown, so naturally our head office and manufacturing premises would have grown to meet the market expectations. The phase one of the company is actually the third building from the right, if you had to view the image there. And in fact, the very first phase was that building was half the size of that current building. And then subsequent to that, there have been numerous expansion projects, with our latest ongoing version right now being the amalgamation of the two buildings on the left-hand side, which will increase our floor space by some 3,000 square meters. This project will be completed once lockdown is relaxed and contractors naturally can recommence work on site. During this project, the factory layout will be completely realigned, ensuring ever higher levels of output efficiency together with our ever improving quality assurance and quality control measures, meaning a further improvement of supply of our products to the market for our customer base. A further development in the near future is a completely redesigned GRP pole factory. This will be completed this year with some very exciting news coupled to this statement. We would like to say stay tuned for further announcements on this project as this project develops. Moving to the next slide, we would like to state, and we're proud to state, that BEKA Schréder, we're the first South African lighting company to be awarded ISO 9000 Quality Management System accreditation all the way back in 1989. We have initiated the audit of the ISO 14001 accreditation, that being the environmental management standard. This will also be completed this year. And then further to that, the ISO 50001 being the energy management system audit, which will also be completed this year and accredited. Our commitment to save energy is not only through our processes, but very significantly through the design and implementation of highly efficient products designed and manufactured within South Africa. Our success can certainly be attributed to the ongoing research and development of new luminaires and pole solutions, meeting the ever-changing demands of the lighting landscape, not only within South Africa, but within Africa and naturally into our international territories. We, as a proudly local South African company, are committed to utilizing downstream manufacturing of components used in our products wherever practically possible. This includes our die-cast aluminium housings, all designed to perform within our very harsh environmental conditions. And moving on, our company is a team of accredited lighting practitioners with many years of collective design experience, all available and on hand to meet all your design needs. Our design team are proficient and flexible in providing lighting solutions for virtually all aspects of lighting applications. Further aspects such as return of investment calculations, 3D modeling, etc., are all easily submitted by this team of lighting specialists. Moving on to our lighting solutions. As a design and manufacturing company, we offer lighting solutions for virtually all project and product segments, be it outdoor ambiance, road and street lighting, industry, including mining and as a subsegment, various commercial project solutions, as well as illumination. However, our focus segment today is obviously floodlighting, with the emphasis being our newly launched range of floodlight luminaires. I now hand over to Grant to introduce this range. Thank you.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you for that introduction. I think we've all heard that saying that we remember who we are and where we come from, and it really paves the way where we're going. And this really plays into our strengths, and we're proud to launch the completion of the OMNIBLAST-E product range with the OMNIBLAST-E MIDI. Let's move on to some key features. Oh, first of all, the application, sorry. With regards to the floodlighting, we all know that there's a wide range of application that we can mount and illuminate. And of course, the main focus here is with regards to recreational sport, stadiums and area floodlighting. But we mustn't forget, we do have very specifics with regards to area, industrial harbors, golf courses, track and fields in universities, high mast lighting, which is very popular within South Africa, interchange lighting, where we have very specific design, application and regulation, and also with bridges. Okay, let's go into the key features of the product. Again, this family has really been is really focusing on the recreational sport and area lighting application, and we're really happy. And you would have seen over the past week the OMNIBLAST-E MIDI family being launched externally, and now this is just really to wrap up and give you a full understanding of the advantages, characteristics and features of the product. Again, we play into our strengths with this product with regards to the marine grade die-cast aluminium, the 44300 material that we use. Looking into the optic range, we've really pride ourselves in that, as Derek mentioned, with regards to HID reflector systems, where we've come from all the way through now to the specific optics that we do have for sports and area application. And another technology that we really try and drive is, and a feature that we really try and drive is being future-proof. So really, one, this is upgradable, and two, it's really serviceable. Let's move on. Just some more advantages, and just to highlight the lumen range that we have here, everything from a 30k lumen package all the way up to 180k lumen package. We really try and cover a full range of HRD replacements here, but please, it's important to remember this is not just a one-to-one replacement. We really have to consult you with regards to the application, the light output, and all the conditions surrounding that replacement. So when you're looking at that, please consult our very knowledgeable sales team. They'll be able to consult you on the best replacement possible, and then our design team will be able to make sure that it's optimum for your application. Also adding to what Derek mentioned, the energy saving is very, very important to us, and we do provide a whole range of controls and a configuration, and also pushing into the IoT space if necessary, depending on the customer's requirements and application with using our outlet system. Again, on the design side, we really focus on meeting all the design requirements, local and international, depending on the sport and the application that is required. Next. One of the key advantages we all know about LED is the instant on and off. We do know with any power failure with regards to HRD, you have a process of cooling down, and then a period of time is lost before you would actually get to full brightness again. Obviously, this is eliminated, and we've all know this key advantage with regards to LED. And obviously, the options of control system, we'll go into more detail a little bit later with Dani on that. Again, with regards to stadium and the application, we can provide UHD, HD, 4K broadcast, and the key advantage there is the flicker free with super slow-mo replays. It is adjustable, and I'd just like to note that we do not adjust the module separately in this case. We don't advise this due to the fact that you will be losing the intensity of the beam if you do. So yes, it is fully adjustable on site with regards to the inclination angle and the U bracket that you can see in the picture for optimal aiming. But again, we do not advise on aiming the modules separately in this case. Something that we do pride ourselves in, obviously, is the 5-year warranty. So please take note of that in the handouts tab. You'll see the brochure available for download. Just to go into some a little bit more detail of the characteristics of the product. Again, this is a high-power modular unit, all the way from 245 watts to almost 1.5 kilowatt. A nice lumen output range, really to cover all the applications that you mentioned before. The efficacy is at a high level. Just please note here with regards to these values, this is at component or chip data. You will see in our brochure we do supply you with both levels of data. You could with regards to output and source data. We do have an option of 400K, but with regards to stadium, we do set the standard at about 4,700 Kelvin. The lifetime, very important with regards to LED. It's really the useful life of the product with our 30% depreciation over the life of this product. And please remember that the B value here with regards to the LED module data is not a failure rate. This is a whole separate discussion on its own, which we'll happily consult you on. But please remember, this is specific to the installed base that would be at that level of 30% after 100,000 hours depreciation. But it is not a failure rate. Just a reminder of that. We do have a standard CRI of 70, but obviously there is an option of a higher CRI if need be, and that we can quote accordingly depending on your application. Just to remember that depending on the color temperature and the CRI value, there will be a variance in the lumen output. Again, we push the highest level of IP rating. that we possibly can with the floodlight on this at IP66. We have a nice voltage range to equate for any line voltage that is fluctuating. Temperature-wise, we do have a TA up to 40 degrees Celsius. Again, knowing South African and harsh conditions, we do have surges, and with regards to that, we do have a standard 10 kV and an optional of 20 kV. Again, the control options, which we'll go into more detail. And then with regards to our high-powered maxi units, we do have the options of different pin sockets and our remote management system. Okay. Key features again. You'll see on the control box, which it has been a newer addition to the family as of last year. Again, we made sure that this is very serviceable. It's got a hinged lid that it makes it easy accessible for contractors or any maintenance upgrade or changes that needs to be made to this product. Again, at the highest possible marine grade die-cast aluminium. Again, we're using a very sturdy stirrup with regards. It's made of hot dip galvanized steel, and really it helps with regards to keeping these units in place, easy accessible, easy for maintenance and aiming and commissioning on site. Another key feature which is very important when looking at the supply of LED floodlights is how we're controlling the cooling of the unit. As you can see in this picture of the Maxi, you'll see a pre-extruded heatsink. Obviously, we really need to maximize the life of the lumen output of this product, and it's important to be able to get the heat away from the junction temperatures in the LED and to make sure that we're getting the best possible longevity out of this product. Because as you know, these high-powered units, we're really pushing the limits of any LED, and we really need to make sure that the heatsink is optimal and it is really maximizing all the technology present here. Another key feature with regards to the Maxi product, it just comes in two options with regards to a polycarbonate protector at a higher RK rating of 10, and also the high impact glass, obviously slightly lower RK rating of 08. And we really try and optimize this with regards to the weight of the product and driving the ingress protection as optimal as possible at IP66. And this really gives us a chance to really protect the optical unit that is fitted with these high efficient and high power LEDs, because we really want to make sure that the photometry requirement and what is coming out of this unit is really protected. Let's move on. Just some accessories that's available to us, and it's very, very important to consult with our salespeople with regards to converting your design on paper into reality on the sports field. And we really want to make sure that the commissioning, the aiming is optimal to make sure that you're achieving the quoted figures and the required light levels with regards to the application that has been specified. Let's move on. Another very important part that has come, especially with regards to sport lighting applications, is spill light. And because this is in a lot of these recreational sport high schools and that are in residential areas, we really need to make sure that we control the light as best as possible. So in some cases, just to avoid any backlight, spill light, upward light, or any light pollution, we do have steel hoods available. Some people may refer to it as barn doors, but we do have this accessory and option available. Also with that, to optimize any glare, we do have a vertical louver system so we can really optimize any installation to your requirements and application standard. Just to quickly look at the light distributions, and this will lead into Retief's presentation. On the smaller unit, we have a wide variety of very narrow all the way to wide beam options on a symmetrical level. And then in the next slide, you'll see that with regards to area, really optimizing the beam strength and the candela per kilolumen on this with the asymmetrical units to really drive the light where we want to. On the maxi unit, you'll see we're really pushing the boundaries with regards to a tight beam angle, all the way from an extremely narrow beam where we can do some cross aiming, all the way through to an asymmetrical unit. And we can go to the next slide, and I'd like to introduce you to Retief Kutse. He will go through some design application.
Thank you very much, Grant. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all well today in these very strange times we find ourselves in. It's an honor for us to be able to present this product to you, and hopefully everyone is still in a blessed environment where they can do business and look forward to doing business. I'm going to touch on two applications that this product lends itself so well to. Pardon me, I've got a bit of a cough this morning. It's not corona. The first design application I'm going to touch on is recreational sports, and the second is triangular high moss spacing. Just to first define what recreational sports are and how that compares to professional sporting environments. Recreational sports are competitive physical games that are played for fun as opposed to professionally. This means that this type of environment does not require to be lit to enable televised broadcasting or ultra high definition or super slow motion. It's really this type of illumination is expected to be provided in these type of application ranges that in light, well, that provides comfort, visual comfort to the players, to the spectators, and it's really an environment of fun. We don't, in recreational sport, we don't foresee to illuminate lower than really 75 lux maintained average on the horizontal, or higher than 200 lux maintained average, minimum maintained average over the horizontal. And we still maintain good overall uniformity, and we do still attend to the minimum to maximum ratio. And then depending on the type of sport, taking place, of course. In other words, this lighting for recreational sports is really there to enable a comfortable playing environment, which enables the sport to take place unencumbered. But it's again not professionally. No one's getting paid to play these sports. The OMNIBLAST-E range of luminaires truly provides good and comfortable lighting at low power consumption when you compare it specifically to old lighting technology such as metal halide, using the lowest possible amount of poles with the fewest lowest possible height of pole mounting height with the fewest luminaires for the lighting level needed, and that will be dependent on the sport being played. It assists in lowering the load. And in South Africa, this is, I'm talking about the electrical load. In South Africa, we have a constrained energy grid. And by applying this type of technology and using this OMNIBLAST-E range, we're definitely promoting using lower power and taking that load off of our strained power utility, which obviously then assists all stakeholders and anyone living in that local municipal area. It also assists in lowering the cost of electricity to the client who had the vision to install new LED technology that's modular, future-proof, which is really everything the OMNIBLAST-E range lends itself to. There's basically 3 points on design on recreational sports. And that's good lighting solutions, excellent optical range, and preventing obtrusive lighting, as Grant has mentioned. And as I've mentioned, the OMNIBLAST provides good lighting solutions, and it does not take into account things like coefficient of variation, but we do really focus on making sure that it's a comfortable visual environment using this very good product, ensuring that it's a uniform spread, and then obviously ensuring that there's no obtrusive lighting, or that the obtrusive lighting that does occur is within the limits that are allowed. Pardon me. Our range of optics ensure that we use the least number of fittings per mast. This also obviously saves the client on initial capital cost, but it also reduces, again, the load on the electrical grid. And again, in South Africa, we have a very restrained power grid that's constantly under high pressure to provide electricity to all residents within the country. This OMNIBLAST-E range provides excellent glare control with our very large range of optics, which is always being researched and developed. And BEKA Schréder prides itself on testing the glare rating, even on recreational sports, which is something I think that is very important to do. It's not just something we test on professional sports when we know we're going to have televised sports. We test it even for recreational sports and make sure that we are within acceptable limits, and we try to stay under 50 with regards to GR. And then finally, as I've mentioned, we do the obtrusive lighting control. If we find ourselves in a residential area or any of the E zones, we make sure that we apply the correct obtrusive lighting control into these areas. And then moving on to our triangular high mast spacing, which is something that is quite unique to South Africa, and I think also in India in some areas. This is a type of high mast lighting arrangement that generally provides lighting to rural residential developments, which are also known as informal settlements. These types of settlements generally have an origin in rural urban migration or population growth, or because of a lack of affordable housing. With many of these residents, specifically in South Africa, belonging to a demographic that is considered previously disadvantaged, it is of utmost importance that the sense of ownership and well-being is created while still ensuring safety. And the OMNIBLAST-E range really does all of that. It provides good quality illumination, which provides a feeling of safety, belonging, ownership. I don't know if everyone here is familiar with rural high mast lighting, and it's generally it uses high pressure sodium luminaires with a very low color rendering. And once you've changed to an LED solution like the OMNIBLAST-E range, you have this immense change of color rendering, going from your almost 27 to above 70 with the LED, with the OMNIBLAST. And this really enforces and reinforces that feeling of ownership and belonging, and that the local municipal area, the local government are really looking after its residents by applying these, by upgrading from HPS to LED, and it's affordable. There's the optic that we use was specifically created for the South African rural environment, optic 5188, which ensures that there's a high level of visual comfort to all the stakeholders. And because of this very efficient optic, we're utilizing as much of the emitted flux in the areas that we need it, compared to previous reflector systems that might have been less efficient. What's also very important with LED technology, and the OMNIBLAST-E range really lends itself to this, is that we can apply programmable dimmable drivers into the luminaire, which further reduces the cost of electricity over time. If you can imagine, depending on the time of the year, when it gets dark, we'll use 1600 or 1800 as one of the timings. These luminaires switch on at 100% until about 10 o'clock at night or 2200. They stay at 100%. Then obviously some investigation would have been done into the general movement of that area, but let's say at about 10 o'clock it's rather quiet, and we can start dimming it down from 10 till about 12 at night to 70% of its initial luminous flux. From 12 or 2400 until 400, we can reduce it further, the flux from 70% to 30%, and then again from 0400 to 0600, we ramp it up back to back to 100%, getting ready for the morning traffic expected going for the people going to work. And all of those dimming profiles have compounded in energy savings, and over a year that is an immense saving of electricity, which further assists in reducing the load on our constrained energy utility. And this also is something that can be controlled by the stadium controller that Mr. Donnie van der Nest will later discuss. BEKA is also very proud to apply a B3 minimum on these rural high mast areas, which is a 0.4 lux minimum. There is no standard for rural high mast lighting. There used to be a 1 lux minimum, but it was based on nothing within the triangular spacing. There was no real standard. So what we've done is we've decided about 3 years ago or 4 years ago that let's apply a standard. Let's be able to answer why are we lighting to a specific minimum, and the B3 minimum is 0.4 lux. So at least in this manner, we can back it up and say, you know, if it's good enough for a residential area on a big 3-class road, it should be good enough for a rural area where there's either no lighting or bad lighting. So we do that. And just to give you an idea of what 0.4 lux could look like brightness wise or apparent brightness, the moon, when it is at perigee or closest to the earth in the tropics, provides around 0.3 lux average, which is, I'm not sure if anyone's ever walked at night out on full moon, but you've even got a shadow. You can definitely see quite well, and we're at 0.4 lux, and this is how we apply that. And then finally, the typical distance for our triangular spacing, the method we apply, we achieve with the 270 watt OMNIBLAST-E MIDI, using that very specific optic 5188, we achieve around 260 meters in a bilateral triangular spacing with 8 luminaires at 30 meters mounting height, which means we're using the fewest amount of high masts with the fewest amount of luminaires per mast over a large area, which again reduces cost to the client, reduces energy consumption, and provides this real environment of good lighting, good color rendering, and I just think it's a great product for this type of application. We're going to go into a video of one of our recently installed recreational sports facilities, and then after that, Mr. Donnie van der Nest will present the stadium controller. Thank you so much.
This luminaire has been designed specifically for sports light applications, including professional sport and recreational sport lighting. This luminaire incorporates the newest technology trends, starting at the LED technology, which is called the chip scale package technology. It has a very unique small footprint and optimizes the optical performance of this luminaire, which is unique as it has a small footprint and can be uniquely used in spotlight applications where we need to have a tight beam angle for precise lighting applications. This luminaire meets all international testing requirements and is therefore surely adequate to sustain any harsh environmental conditions, which is typical for sport lighting applications. Further to this, luminaires like this can be used for any kind of floodlight applications that includes general area lighting or high mass application lighting.
Hi everyone, thank you very much Retief for your part. Good morning and thank you for the opportunity to present. With regard to the stadium control system, we have partnered with one of our local internationally recognized component suppliers on a solution using the DALI standard. We base this system on the specific lighting design per customer, which indicates the number of devices to be used of each floodlight module. Therefore, we can calculate the 64 devices required for the DALI line and how many DALI lines are required. It is also possible to broadcast to 110 devices if limited control is required on small applications, and this equals to a cost-saving system with less hardware, obviously. This gives us the control of dimming each floodlight module. We can then program to the customer requirement for specific light levels. By doing so, we can extend not only the life of the luminaire, which also result in an additional energy saving. On the next slide, some other aspects are that scenes can be controlled by a 4-button switch control box, which is typically your on-off practice, club or league setting, depending on the required light level. It is also possible to control remotely via a smart device connected to the internet by downloading a simple user application program onto the smart device. Secure access control is set up for each user within this user application, and commissioning of the system is easily done using the same application. Bluetooth connectivity is also possible between control devices via a wireless user interface device with a 4-scene button control, or through the smart device if in close proximity to the mast. But however, everybody knows Bluetooth range is limited. So even for us, it's a challenge, and development on this outdoor concept is ongoing. This slide indicates a simplified schematic of the architecture of this DALI system, which shows the different ways of control and typically the layout of the DALI lines. One of the main features here is that remote control gives the benefit to the customer, whereby the facility manager or the groundsman can remotely switch the lights to the required level from the comfort of his home. This based scenes or time-based scenes, sorry, can also be set to delay the switch off of the luminaires for security and safety for the users before leaving the grounds. Our target market obviously is on medium and smaller sized sport fields and sports center, depending on the design and the quantity of luminaires to be controlled. Now that's simply my part done. Thank you very much. Before ending this, the next few slides show some of our current installation references, and Derek can maybe elaborate a bit more on them. Thanks, Derek.
Thank you. So obviously just a few brief, more recent installations that we're proud to have installed, the OMNIBLAST LED solution in the Greenpoint Athletic Stadium in Cape Town. This is a very recent project. The next one was again the Paul Fallet High School, which you would have noticed on the video. Again, a very good lighting solution, but not only a good lighting solution, but achieving great energy savings and control. Kommetjie Generation School Imhof. This was a project that was done fairly quickly, so we're able to say we're able to get to provide your solution in a fairly good turnaround time. If the demand is high, please speak to us as quick as possible. As I said to you before, we do have a dedicated range of technical specialists in our design department, and this project was realized rather quickly. Sorry, I was incorrect earlier. The Paul Fallet is different to the Paul Boys, two different projects. The Paul Boys project is a little bit higher in result than your conventional recreational sport. They did want to go for a higher illumination solution. If my memory is correct, according to Retief's slide, we achieved 350 plus lux, which is higher than the normal recreational sport requirement. And that's just the head frame view of the same project. I think that would be it. Thank you. Thank you, Nadia. Maybe I will just bring this up now then. Firstly, I do notice a couple of questions which we'll address now, but if you wanted more direct interactions with your regional staff, naturally on screen is the direct email addresses per branch. We proud to say that we represented throughout South Africa, from the bottom of South Africa down in Cape Town, all the way through and beyond our borders to export. And then obviously those who are online who interact with our branches daily, please make contact with your direct salesperson should you have any more intense queries or potential projects. In the meantime, maybe we can begin to start answering some questions.
Yes, so
I noticed
hello.
Continue, Nadia.
Sorry, so having a look at the questions that were posted already, so I think Grant, here's a question for you. There's the question, what is the material of manufacture of the anti-glare baffle?
Well, I can answer that quickly as soon as my mic is open.
Okay.
It's stainless steel 316 grade.
So I'm not sure if everyone understood that. If you could maybe just repeat that.
Okay, it's stainless steel, grade 316.
Okay, thank you. Then Retief, I think that one's directed at you. When you say rural, do you mean urban township when referring to the high mast lights?
Yes, that's exactly it. There's different ways of saying the same thing, rural lighting, informal settlement, but that's exactly what was meant, yes.
Okay, and I think Retief, just stay on the line here. What is the typical expected ROR for dimmable OmniBlast luminaires for area lighting based on the scenario mentioned?
Right. So you're looking. I mean, first you'll have to look at the amount of luminaires that you're replacing, and then you can see that we can replace typically 6 400-watt HPS luminaires with 6 245 watt or 270 watt OmniBlast-E midis in the same kind of area, and then that could be up to 50%, 56% saving in power by replacing those luminaires. And then depending on the area, we've done some case study, some return on investment calculations, and you're looking at anything between 4 to 6 years.
Right, thank you. Then how far away is the completion of the ISO 14001 audit? 14,001. I think maybe Derek.
Not yet. That's,
Yes.
yeah, that's. I'll just jump in there quickly. That's we're looking at completing that by the end of the year.
Okay.
Obviously, because of lockdown, it's slightly delayed, but yes, completion would be this year. Sorry, I was waiting for a helicopter to go past overhead.
Okay, if you have any further questions, now's your chance to quickly type it into the question mark tab. Just hold on. Sorry, there are some questions coming in. What is the best angle when aiming the luminaires on a 30-meter high mast, and is there a difference from this HPS and LED?
Right, that's a question that would be much better answered via email. But just to make it simple, the question is, what is the best angle when aiming the luminaires on a 30-meter mast, and is there a difference from HPS and LED? Yes. So the first one, the aiming angle depends on the optic. So and again, the optic depends on the application, the type of application. Generally, and I'm going to answer the question in general, 5188 has a peak intensity of 30 degrees, and we allow for up to 75 degrees. So you would infer then a 45-degree rake angle typically. And yes, there is a difference between HPS and LED because we're using optical control, or in some cases internal reflectors, and HPS generally was a reflector, a well-designed reflector, definitely no doubt about that, but around a larger source of illumination, and that would be my simple answer to that question.
Great, thank you. Sorry, just hold on a second. So Dani, on the lighting control presentation, is it possible to include the lighting control into SCADA system? Sorry, SCADA system.
Yeah, so the SCADA system is purely to control energy usages and so forth, and getting feedback on that. This is not based on any of that other than a standard control system to dim the luminaires. So development into that section has not been done. However, using the DALI standard, I'm sure future possibilities of including it into other systems will be possible.
All right. Then maybe this is a question for Grant. It says here, I couldn't really tell from the image, but what does the back end of the OmniBlast look like? I see the fins for a heatsink, but what is the depth of the indents? Obviously, we want to maximize the dissipation properties, but accumulation of grime in the fins compromises this.
This was specific on the height. I don't have it at hand, so I'll have to refer back to you with regards to email. But all testing is done under extreme conditions, so that that heatsink will be packed with dirt, etc. With regards to the testing, the testing process is always done under the most extreme conditions to make sure that we get to the best performance of the product with regards to the temperature testing, to make sure that the heatsink is optimal, even though that there is a chance of dirt or dust there. But also we must remember at that mounting height, there is a lot of airflow and rain, etc., which will wash this product. Also at the inclination angle, we don't expect it to be packed that full, but just for confidence sake, we do test this under extreme conditions.
Okay, thank you. Then the next question. Were there any glare issues with the floodlighting, with them being LED versus HPS or MH previously? Who's going to take that question?
Nadia, I think that's I think that's for me. I'm unsure. I can't answer that question regarding glare. The question was, were there any glare issues with the floodlighting, with them being previously, with them being LED versus HPS or metal halide previously? I don't know. What I can say is that with LED, we have much better optical control. And again, there's no real standard regarding glare in rural high mast environments. So, but that all, again, 5188 lends itself very well to a visually comfortable environment, high color rendering compared to the previous HPS, not metal halide. Metal halide does have a good color rendering. So I'm in that environment. I don't think glare is ever really considered, because generally what would happen is it's an area with no lighting, where some lighting is then provided, and obviously now with the new OMNIBLAST-E range, we provide even better lighting, taking into account glare.
Okay. Thanks, Retief. Then just also please answer this one. Are IES files available for lighting simulation?
Yes, they are. They're constantly updated. Please just go on to the BEKA Schréder website under information. I think it's help. Hold on. Let me just get the exact location. When you go to the BEKA Schréder website, www.beka-schréder.co.za, and you click on knowledge base, which is under the support heading, you will find all the LDT and IES files. They're currently being updated by myself with regards to them being with regards to their rotation. So please look out for them in the near future.
Okay, great, thank you. Then we have another question. Grant, just to clarify, is this range 100% locally manufactured?
Nadia, yes, this is a locally manufactured product.
Okay, then the next question, or it seems like a statement. Surely the return on investment for floodlighting system depends on the hours used per annum, which may vary substantially between installations. I think, Retief, this one is for you.
Yes, that's correct. They do vary substantially Mr. Hatfield, they do. And we take that into account, actually. We use a software called Ulysses, which is third-party verified by Le Borrelec in Belgium. And we apply something called night variation, first of all, which takes into account the seasons and when the sun rises and when the sun sets. So obviously, in summer, we have much shorter nights, and in winter we have much longer nights. So we have varying hours of darkness. That's the first point. We take that into account. And then secondly, of course, depending on the area that's being illuminated, we would do a very in-depth calculation or simulation with the new proposed lighting system. And then we can calculate your return on investment.
Okay, then I've got a question here. Price range, maybe Derek.
It's very hard to give a thumbs up over the phone, but it depends on your project requirement. So the price range really does vary. As you see, there's two specifically different luminaire groups, being the MIDI and the Maxi, and then you have module 1 up to module 3. So it's very hard to give you a direct price range, but please give us a call. We can see what your specific project is. We can compare it to what your norm would have been, and we can give you a pricing solution literally within over the phone. Thank you.
Okay, then I would like to ask if BEKA has any plugin for lighting design software, Dialux or Relux.
The short answer is no. We provide the files as they're there to download online as from our website, so you don't really need the plugin. And because of the continuous research and development with regards to optics, and the continuous performance improvement on the LED chips themselves, we like to keep that in-house and update as and when that changes, so that we can provide a more up-to-date photometric library.
Thanks, Retief. Okay, so then on the lighting control, Dani, we've got a question. On the lighting control again, how far should the local server be positioned to get the mentioned Bluetooth connection, especially in sports and recreation applications, which are normally far from the buildings where servers are generally located?
Yes, Mr. Boswa, to answer you as well as possible, obviously, like I said, Bluetooth connectivity has limitations, as everybody knows, and for outdoor use, even more so. The components we used have a maximum distance of about 50 meters range connectivity. Therefore, we try and set up the network system in such a way that devices are in close proximity of each other. So yeah, to answer you with regards to service, obviously there are different ways of connecting devices to service, and that's through network cables and RJ45 network systems. So and through routers and plug-in devices. So all of that is possible. Depending on the layout of the ground and depending of where the clubhouse or the control room or your server room of such is. But yes, Bluetooth is limited. That's why I'm saying, if we have a device within a control box of the luminaire, then you have to be right next to the mast, because most of the masts are close to 40 meters high. And then you'll have connectivity. But Bluetooth isn't the main idea here. It's purely on the DALI line and the control of the luminaires through the DALI line.
Thank you, Dani. Here's another question which I will direct to Grant. Can BEKA Schréder consider a centralized repository for LDT IES files that notifies us of updates. Dropbox is successfully used by one of the competitors, in brackets, sorry.
Yeah, please get hold of me with regards to that, but we'll definitely make it as simple as possible for you to get all the IES files. So we'll definitely take it offline and just make sure you get everything that is needed and make sure that the updates are generated through to you when they happen.
Okay, then we have another question here at Donnie. Do you guys have in-house DALI system technicians to assist in installation and commissioning of DALI systems?
The short answer is yes. I myself handle each project with regards to the network layout and also the commissioning of our systems. And also we do have the backup on the hardware side and the software side from our local supplier.
Okay, great. I think then, I know there's one more question that popped up. Do you provide petroleum industry application flood lighting? Maybe Grant, this might be a question for you.
If that is with regards to any...
I can take that.
Okay. Okay. Carry on.
Yeah. Yes, we do. If you mean zoned luminaires, then yes, we provide a range of luminaires for every single application you could possibly imagine, really. And we do cater for every environment, even when they're explosive, gas or dust environments, or corrosive environments.
Okay, great. I think then maybe we can wrap it up. If you still have any questions afterwards, then please do not hesitate to get in touch with us. You can still see our the relevant email addresses. So I would just like to thank you so much for joining us this morning. If you require a recording of this webinar, then please also email us a request. And also again to just mention that the OMNIBLAST-E brochure is available for download in the handouts tab. Please stay online to complete a short poll. It will really take less than a minute. There are just 3 questions and we would really appreciate your feedback. But with that, I would like to just say thank you so much and have a great day further.